Have you ever wondered how the Komodo dragon, this prehistoric giant, became the largest lizard in the world? How did it survive for millions of years in a single region of the planet? In this video, we will explore the fascinating evolutionary history of this creature, revealing its ancestors, its unique adaptations and what made it such a lethal predator. If you enjoy discovering the secrets of nature and understanding how animals evolved to dominate their habitats, this video is for you. You will learn how the Komodo dragon resisted natural selection and what mysteries of biology it still hides. This knowledge is not only impressive, but it can also change the way you view evolution and biodiversity. So, are you ready to take a trip back in time to the origins of this incredible predator? Press play and come and find out how this reptilian monster survived and became one of the most impressive animals on the planet. The truth about the Komodo dragon, the evolution of the world's largest lizard. What do you think you know about the Komodo dragon? If the answer is just that it's a big, scary lizard, then prepare to have your mind blown. The world's largest lizard isn't just a survivor of the wild, it's the result of millions of years of relentless evolution, shaped by forces beyond our wildest imaginations. But the truth about these predators goes far beyond what you see in documentaries. There are secrets hidden in the Komodo dragon's evolutionary history that defy logic and make us wonder, how does such a creature exist only on a small island in the middle of Indonesia? Few people know that the Komodo dragon's origins are linked to brutal geological changes and a past where it shared territory with creatures that seem to have come straight out of a science fiction movie. Imagine a world where dwarf elephants, giant storks, and colossal reptiles coexisted, and dragons were there, dominating this ecosystem for millennia. But how did Komodo dragons evolve over time? How did these giant lizards become the apex predators of their island? What allowed them to survive while other species disappeared without a trace? If you think you've seen everything about these incredible reptiles, you're wrong. The evolution of the Komodo dragon holds surprising answers that can change your view of nature and survival. So, if you're ready to discover the secret of the Komodo dragon's size and how reptiles evolve in such an extreme environment, keep reading, because what's next will blow your mind. The only island with dragons. Komodo Island is not just a dot on the map, but a true living sanctuary of the Komodo dragon's evolutionary history. While the rest of the world followed a different path, this isolated piece of Indonesia has allowed the world's largest lizard to thrive without major competitors. But how did the Komodo dragon emerge in such a unique environment? Separated from other predatory species, these giants were able to grow without the pressure of giant predators in nature, maintaining absolute dominance over the island. The secret of the Komodo dragon's size is directly linked to its isolation. In a scenario where resources are limited and competition is reduced, natural selection favored gigantism as an evolutionary advantage. But where did the Komodo dragon come from? Researchers believe it descended from ancient reptiles that migrated from other regions of Asia, taking advantage of periods of low tides to colonize this unique paradise. This explains why we don't see these colossal predators elsewhere. The origins of the Komodo dragon are also intertwined with geological changes that shaped its habitat. Millions of years ago, Indonesia was an interconnected archipelago, allowing species to move around. However, as sea levels rose, Komodo became an isolated island, sealing the fate of these reptiles. This phenomenon reinforces how Komodo dragons evolved to dominate their territory without worthy rivals. But the question that arises is, how did they manage to survive and adapt to such an inhospitable environment? Adapting to the dry environment. Komodo Island does not offer an easy life, and this is exactly what shaped the evolution of the Komodo dragon. During the dry season, water becomes a scarce resource, confined to a few waterholes scattered across the arid terrain. This means that both prey and predators are drawn to the same watering holes. The world's largest lizard has learned to turn this limitation into a strategic advantage, patiently waiting for thirsty buffaloes to approach so it can surprise them with a lightning attack. But how did reptiles evolve in such a hostile environment? The Komodo dragon has developed a highly efficient metabolism, allowing it to survive on just a few meals per year. In addition, its ability to store fat in its tail serves as an energy reservoir, ensuring its survival in times of scarcity. This adaptation is very reminiscent of giant predators in nature, such as crocodiles, which can go months without eating and still remain lethal. The secret to the Komodo dragon's size also lies in its flexible diet. In addition to water buffalo, these opportunistic predators feed on carcasses, small mammals and even other dragons in extreme cases. This dietary versatility has been essential for their persistence on the island over the centuries. But how exactly do they manage to take down prey that is 3 times their size? Well, the answer lies in their most lethal weapon, their venomous bite. Venomous bite. If there's one thing that makes the Komodo dragon a truly fearsome predator, it's its bite. Unlike other reptiles, which rely solely on brute force, it has a lethal secret: its toxic saliva. With a single blow, it injects a cocktail of bacteria and venom that causes sudden shock and prevents the victim's blood from clotting. This means that even if the prey manages to escape at first, its doom has already been given. Continuous bleeding and infection will do the rest of the work. But how did Komodo dragons evolve to develop this type of bite? The answer lies in natural selection. Throughout the Komodo dragon's evolutionary history, those that had more aggressive bacteria in their mouths and toxin-producing glands had a better chance of incapacitating their prey and surviving. Over time, this characteristic became a dominant trait. This also explains why other giant predators in nature, such as venomous snakes, develop similar mechanisms to subdue their victims. The impact of this hunting strategy is brutal. A water buffalo, even 3 times the size of the world's largest lizard, can fall within days of being bitten. The venom acts as a silent ally, allowing the dragon to simply follow its prey from a distance and wait for the inevitable collapse. This behavior proves that nature favors the most adaptable, and when it comes to the Komodo dragon, it didn't just survive, it dominated. But its diet wasn't always this way. After all, what did the Komodo dragon's ancestors hunt before the arrival of humans and water buffalo? Human interference. The Komodo dragon is a formidable predator, but its diet didn't always include water buffalo. In fact, these massive mammals were introduced to Komodo Island only a few hundred years ago by humans. Before that, the food chain for the world's largest lizard was very different. The arrival of the water buffalo brought a new dynamic to the island, becoming an unexpected food source for the dragons. But this change was not without its challenges. Dragons had to adapt their hunting techniques to deal with prey that was much larger and tougher than what they were used to. Human interference was not limited to the introduction of new prey. Over time, villages began to emerge, bringing chickens, goats and, eventually, direct conflicts between people and Komodo dragons. The secret of the Komodo dragon's size may be related to the island's isolation, but its ability to adapt to new challenges, including changes caused by man, is also impressive. There have even been cases of dragons attacking humans, although this is rare. The real problem is habitat destruction, as the encroachment of local communities has reduced the natural spaces where these reptiles can hunt and live freely. The evolutionary history of the Komodo dragon shows that it has always found ways to survive, regardless of the obstacles. But the introduction of new species to the island and the presence of humans raise a question: are the future of these giants under threat? To understand this, we need to look even further into the past. After all, before the arrival of the buffalo and the changes brought about by man, who were the true rivals and natural prey of the Komodo dragon? Prehistoric past. Long before humans set foot on Komodo Island, the Komodo dragon ruled supreme. But its diet was very different. In the distant past, it didn't hunt buffalo or raid villages. Its prey were extinct creatures like giant storks and dwarf elephants. That's right. Where the Komodo dragon came from, its prey wasn't necessarily bigger than it was, but it still required refined hunting skills. The Komodo dragon's evolution was shaped by this prehistoric setting, in which it had to specialize in catching and taking down agile, resilient prey. The Komodo dragon's ancestors didn't have the venomous bite we know today. Natural selection meant that those that were most efficient at hunting and consuming surviving prey passed those traits on to future generations. This raises an interesting question. If humans had never interfered with the island, would the Komodo dragon have evolved differently? Perhaps it would have continued to feed on small mammals and giant birds, without ever having to face buffalo and other challenges brought by the colonizers. The evolutionary history of the Komodo dragon is deeply intertwined with the transformation of its environment. The island's fauna has changed dramatically over the centuries, but the dragons have remained, adapting to new conditions. However, this was not the only major change that influenced their survival. To fully understand why these giant lizards are unique, we need to look at something even bigger: climate change and its impact on the evolution of these fascinating predators. Climate change and evolution. The evolutionary history of the Komodo dragon cannot be told without talking about the drastic climate changes that shaped its habitat. Thousands of years ago, sea levels fluctuated constantly, connecting and separating islands over time. This phenomenon created natural bridges, allowing various species to migrate. This is how the ancestors of the Komodo dragon arrived in Indonesia from regions that are now part of Australia. But as the oceans rose again, the islands became isolated, forcing the species to adapt or disappear. The secret of the Komodo dragon's size is directly linked to this isolation. On islands, a curious phenomenon occurs. Some species become dwarfs, while others grow beyond normal. In the case of the dragon, the lack of giant predators in nature allowed it to become the largest lizard in the world. This same evolutionary process has been observed in other regions, such as in the dwarf elephants that inhabited isolated islands in the past. But unlike these creatures, the Komodo dragon did not just survive, it thrived. Which leads us to an intriguing question. How did Komodo dragons evolve to maintain their dominance even in the face of environmental changes? The climate of Komodo Island has oscillated between periods of extreme drought and wetter times, which required a unique resilience from these reptiles. They learned to survive in adverse conditions, taking advantage of every opportunity to feed and store energy. But with current climate change and increasing human interference, will this incredible species be able to continue its evolutionary trajectory? And now, what do you do with this knowledge? Now that you understand the true evolutionary history of the Komodo dragon, one question remains: what does this teach us? Nature does not favor the strongest, but rather the most adaptable. Just as these giant lizards evolved to survive hostile environments, you too must evolve in the face of life's challenges. But are you adapting to the changes around you or just waiting for things to get better on their own? If the world's largest lizard has survived for centuries thanks to its ability to adapt, what's your next step to become more resilient? Are you ready to learn more, challenge your beliefs, and evolve to conquer your own territories? After all, the evolution of the Komodo dragon shows us that survival is not for those who wait, but for those who act. If this journey through the past, present, and future of the Komodo dragon has opened your mind, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, you will continue learning about the wonders of the natural world and how they can transform your outlook on life. Leave your comment below. What was the most surprising fact you discovered today? Let's talk.